You need to adapt to the situation, let's say to the country's reality. Something that worked in Russia, it will never work in Qatar. My nightmare that something will happen from people that moves from the transport hub to the venue itself. When people work in venue operations center, you need to make decisions like this. You need to make a step back, see the wider picture, how it will influence on others. The rise of cybersecurity threats, something related to artificial intelligence. I mean, like something that is under control of state security agencies like human trafficking.
Esto es Punto de Reunión.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Y bienvenidos a un episodio más de Punto de Reunión. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Punto de Reunión. Have you ever wondered what it takes to ensure the safety of thousands or even million visitors at some of the world's largest sporting events? Well, our next guest is Mr. Konstantin Turuntcev, a true master in the realm of event security. From the exhilarating rush of Formula One in Sochi to the grand spectacle in the 2018 Russia World Cup and the historic Sochi 2014 Olympic and Paralympic Games, he's been the force and the mind ensuring everything runs smoothly and safe. His impeccable work earned him the prestigious AFC 2022 award in security planning. Get ready to be inspired and enlightened as we dive into the world of event security with Mr. Konstantin Turuntcev. He shared with us some of the most hidden secrets, strategies, and experiences behind managing the safety of massive crowds. You don't want to miss this episode. Enjoy! Hello. Thank you very much for being with us again in this Punto de Reunión or Meeting Point podcast. We're very glad to be here in Mexico City. We are now recording live here in Expo Security in Mexico City in Centro Banamex. And we're very glad here to be with Konstantin. Thank you very much for being with us. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's also for me a very great pleasure to be here.
Our community is called Salvavidas or Safeguards. It's like a lifesavers. That's how we call our audience. And I'm sure they will be very interested and very happy to hear what we are going to share with them today. Thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you.
I would like to start with you. Like you are a very young man and you have been in such very, very nice and interesting massive events. So I'm honestly very intrigued on how someone gets this life decision to work in a profession so strict, so stressful, with a huge amount of responsibility, a lot of people, a lot of eyes watching you. How do you decide to be that, to do what you do
It's
now?
a very long story. I will try to make it short. So it actually happened, I think, more than right now, 10 years ago. I used to work in the hotel, and my specialization in diploma is hotel industry. So once I worked there for 1 year, for me it's getting bored, and I wanted, to something new, something that will challenge me. And when I left this job, I was sitting on the beach and I was thinking what to do next. And I know that my hometown Sochi will host Olympic Games in 2014. And I start thinking, okay, how to get a job there. Maybe something, it's like a universe or something came to me. And I just received suddenly a call when I was sitting on the beach from a friend of mine. And he told me, okay, are you up for a challenge? I thought, okay, I want a challenge. What to do? Do you want to work for Olympics in your hometown? I thought, of course, yes. And he offered me a job, I got the interviews, and I shifted to this industry. It's maybe easy to get there, but it's not easy to stay in the industry because sometimes, it can be seasonable work,
It's not like a permanent job.
Yeah, it's not
like
a permanent job. You're
go.
traveling from country to country, you are traveling from city to city. And right now I live in Qatar. It's very interesting. And it's very amazing to be there. And I think, this industry is very small. People know each other. And in general, safety and security, yes, there are a lot of people, but not all of them, let's say, real professionals or people who know what really to do. And you work on your personal brand, let's say. And I think this event industry, global events industry, it helps step by step to build your personal brand, to gain the skills, because you work from people around the globe, and you gain experience, not your personal, but you also take something interesting from the people, from our professional who I think more than 20 or 30 years in the industry.
It's an industry that most of the people is young, or most of the people is old, or you have a mix?
It's a mix, it depends. So far as I know, we used to be the youngest organizing committee in Sochi 2014, when the average year was like 25, 26 years old.
Mid-20s, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And now it's, so far as I heard, it's Paris 2024. So we're the youngest ones right now. So.
Nice. and what happened through all this year? You've been part of the Sochi in Olympic Games, FIFA World Cup, Formula One. After all these years, do you still have your worst nightmare that you think that I hope this never happened? It's like you take care of this point that something that you are really afraid of happen. What should be that nightmare?
It's very good to be a very confident person, and I know that the confidence grows with experience. However, there is always something that may happen. And I think my nightmare is always related to crowd management and something that will happen with the flow of people who is moving toward the venue. And as I mainly worked with the stadiums, my nightmare that something will happen from people that moves from the transport hub to the venue itself, because this area, it's modern trend, it's called last mile, the pedestrian pathwalk from the transport hub to stadium itself. Or in UK books, you'll see it called Zone X. And usually people underestimate the area, like surrounding the stadium or venue itself. And the planning and integration and all this collaboration, some people, they skip it. And the favor, usually actually it happens here. And I think the recent disaster in Paris, where
how was that? I don't remember.
So recently there was an issue like championship
Exactly.
league, yeah. So there were a lot of crowd management issues actually in this area, not on the stadium itself, but in an area that surrounds the stadium itself. And it actually happened because of a lack of a planning.
You mentioned in the beginning that it's good to be a very confident person, but sometimes excess of confidence drives you to mistakes, because you are so comfortable and probably your standards go down, and then that's where accidents happen, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, because no matter how confident you are, and you live, for example, with a gold standard of a model of organizing event, but sometimes you need to be more flexible. Like it's let's say call it confident flexibility. So it means like you need to adapt to the situation, to the let's say to the country's reality. Something that worked in Russia, it will never work in Qatar. Something that worked in Qatar, it will never work in Mexico. Something that worked in Mexico, it will not work in USA.
Paris.
Yes.
US.
Or Paris. So yeah, there is always
this variety of people that you've been working in many different countries with many different management styles. I don't know if after all this experience that you have with so different countries, so different people, do you think that still we make the same mistakes as human beings? That some things that you have to be aware of, because no matter from where are you, this may happen. This kind of things may happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's 100% sure. What I saw, it's a common mistake. It's like
for instance,
integration among different stakeholders. What I noticed, people focus, okay, we have super modern technologies. I don't know, CCTV cameras that calculate the crowd density, like how many people per square meter they have in this area. But by the end, no one knows how to use it because they didn't train the people. The people who work in a local organizing committee, they even didn't know that this system exists and they don't know how to use it. So people, they like ships in the ocean, they move towards their goal, but they are not aligned. So, and what we like currently, after these years of experience, notice that some people call the simple thing integration, but they underestimate it. So the right people on the table who can align all these processes, technological, overlay infrastructure, operations, and it's not only security-wise, it's like wider picture, like state security agencies, host countries, host cities. Some people, they just ignore it. And that's why all these things happens. You see, like I always have the question in my mind, why there is always issues on a Wembley Stadium. There is always something happens. But these guys, they created the Green Guide. They established the approach, how to manage the crowds, how to organize everything, all these events. And they always have a common mistakes. And I think the answer is integration.
Integration.
Yeah.
And then you live in Qatar, right?
Currently, yes. Yeah.
And after these years living there and for the time that you win in the World Cup, do you remember some particular situation that you had and that you would like to share with us?
As for Qatar, I would say there were no issues because we actually put a lot of efforts and a lot of time. And we spent a lot of time actually on this integration.
Great.
Yes, that's great. I think this
Zero incidents.
Yes, I do believe. I don't remember any issues, and there were zero incidents related because we were expecting something will happen because of a compact nature and a lot of crowd movement in the country. However, nothing happened. So, and this is a success. It's not a personal success.
Mexico loves football. It's part of our culture to follow and to cheer our teams. You have to have a team and you have to follow them. And we are very active in World Cups. Mexicans love to go to World Cups. I think it's the second or the third country that sends more people to every World Cup. So I don't know if in Qatar there was any kind of situation because actually Mexico sent some military personnel to be part of the organization and also to control Mexicans from Mexico. But before that, in other World Cups, almost as so far as I remember, there is something with Mexicans. There was in Brazil a Mexican that jumped from a boat to the sea and died. In Paris, I think there is a flame in the Arc de Triomphe, in the Triomphe Arc, with a flame very important for the culture because it means the French Revolution and so far. And a Mexican went there and peed on there. It's so crazy. I mean, Mexicans are crazy and we did very crazy things, but I'm glad that in Qatar, nothing happened as much as I remember.
The thing is you actually touched a very interesting topic related to fan behavior and this fan engagement. And I know that there are ultras and all these crazy guys that trying to let's say create not a very friendly environment.
And you mix a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of the emotion and the rush of being in another country. And
for example, in Russia, we had this fan ID thing. So all the fans who applied to enter the country, they had a background check. Okay. So that's why we didn't have ultras, or let's say at least on the stadiums, we didn't have ultras. And I think on the streets itself, we didn't have any issues with any other fans. As for Qatar, it's in general the safest country in the world right now because they have a lot of systems and things that actually prevent that people with some, let's say, criminal background or bad behavior enter the country. So far as I remember, Mexican fans, they were the best ones in Qatar. And we didn't notice anything bad from them. We always act very good. And actually in Qatar, there were no alcohol.
Exactly.
In Russia, we had alcohol, but even with alcohol, we didn't face any big issues. No.
3 razones para pertenecer al Hub de Seguridad. 1. Obtener información de primera mano de expertos nacionales e internacionales. 2. Capacitarte en nuestra plataforma y campus virtual con cursos certificados. Y 3. Ser parte de la comunidad digital de prevención y seguridad más influyente en Latinoamérica. Síguenos en nuestras redes como @el Hub de Seguridad MX.
With the evolution of technology such as drones, robotic devices, and other things, what are the new threats that you think that you will be facing in your industry, in the safety industry, and to keep these massive events safe? Because technology helps you to control. Qatar is very good with CCTV, with the drones and all this technology. But also technology helps the crime to be ahead or to commit bad things, right? So what is
I think the rise of cybersecurity threats. I'm not very expert in it, but I understand that right now it's a very big challenge and topic among the different security professionals in the industry itself. I think something related to artificial intelligence. I mean, access control to the stadium. I think there are some technologies that can somehow change the photo on your face. You can put it on the accreditation and you can try somehow to breach the regulations. The third thing may be something more let's say, something that is under control of state security agencies like human trafficking, I don't know, drug dealing and always, crimes, especially in the countries that currently trying to work and establish the new security frameworks.
And it depends also from country to country, right?
Yeah, I agree. It depends from country to country.
This year in France, we'll have the Olympics. And I read that they are kind of worried to be in the middle of two conflicts. You have the Middle East conflict and you have the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and they are very close, kind of close. And there are extremists everywhere in the world, and probably they will face some challenges. Hopefully nothing happens. But I would like to take this example from France to talk about Mexico and North America. In a couple of years, we'll have the World Cup here, Mexico, US, and Canada. How do you see that? It's going to be a challenge for the 3 countries because there are going to be 3 different governments with 3 different way of thinking and way of applying law, and the people will move around from country to country. Customs, logistics, airports. It's going to be a huge challenge, right?
Yes, I agree with you. 3 different countries, 3 different visions, and I think the main challenge is again how this would be all integrated into one security framework. And I understand that I don't know, US, they have one challenge. I yesterday heard on the conference active shooting and crowd management related issues potentially may happen. I don't know. To be honest, for the Canada, I didn't hear anything about Canada, and something that may happen there. But
low profile, peaceful,
seems like this. But I don't know. I never been there, so I don't know what might happen there. Maybe the same. But for Mexico, so far as I see, it's fan behavior itself, with ultras and other aggressive fans. This is one of the focuses, I think, that may potentially step by step arise closer to the World Cup and the Club World Cup if it would be hosted here as well. The second thing is again related with crowd flow, crowd management, crowd control, crowd safety, because a lot of people will move around the cities, around the venues, to the venues, from the match to the match, on the stadium itself. And maybe the third thing is like access to the venues itself. I mean, like, I believe that a lot of people will try to bring something that is not allowed or prohibited on the stadiums. I heard recently there was something happened on some stadiums when the fans they were fighting and a lot of people were injured. So, and I saw, I think on some pictures they were with machete. So something that, something that is in general
the fanatics
prohibited.
became crazy.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago it happened in Mexico, in Querétaro. It was crazy. It was.
And there is a research that why the fans became more aggressive because of COVID, and they accumulated a lot of this like energy, and they didn't know how to let it go. So. And they become more, during this period of time, more aggressive. And when they come to the stadium, it's like a blast, you know, like a blast of energy. The hate, I don't know, the courage, if they bring something prohibited, they start using it. So I think, as I mentioned, that would be the main challenges, how to work.
We're living in a world of polarization, the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the east and the west, the north and the south. Is like very challenging these kind of things, because we are in the middle of loving and hating something all the time. And when it's about football, it's even more strong, this feeling. And if it's about cheering your country and hosting different countries, it can be a very hard combination of elements that may drive to something bad to happen. Hopefully we'll have a very good organization. Are you coming? Are you planning to come to Mexico and North America?
Ojalá.
Well, we are very glad to have you here this time, but hopefully it's not the first time.
Let's see. I hope it will happen somehow, maybe not directly, but some kind of consultancy, at least an advisory.
If there is any advice that you can give to the, let's say, the organization committee that will help from now to be prepared, like in a couple of years in advance, that we should start to be working on, what should it be?
I believe proactive approach. I mean, like the entity who is like would be in charge of leading the event itself. I mean, from the government perspective, they need to start, let's say, starting from tomorrow to integrate all the people who is involved in the organization. Over World Cup itself, it can be a local organizing committee, different hosts, cities, state security agencies. If there is a plan to involve private security companies, so to start working on private security, I mean, trainings, attract people with experience, maybe not a big amount, but who has experience and can guide in the right way to establish the right relationship between these people and FIFA itself. So I think, there is already need to be starting point as soon as possible, because these events, they take a lot of time for preparation, to agree on something, because everyone has its own vision, has its own interest, has its own goal, but the goal is one in general. It's to organize a secure and safe World Cup with, like, let's say, human face with service approach.
Exactly. And well, in coming back to your career, and if I have to say it, you look like a very peaceful and relaxed person. I think that you should give this impression because of what you do. But what happened when a stressful situation comes is like, how do you handle stress? How do you keep calm and keep your mind focused on what you have to do, even if you know that if in a second something could happen? So how do you keep this peaceful?
it comes with years of practice and experience.
But how do you practice that? It's like you go to stressful situations to keep.
You know, all events will always have stressful situations, but you need to make a step back to see the wider picture before making a decision. I know that sometimes you need to take it like this, especially when people work in venue operations center inside the venue, when you need to make decisions like this. You need to make a step back, see the wider picture, how it will influence on others.
Sometimes you don't have time to decide which is the best solution. You just have to make a decision.
Just make a decision.
Okay.
But usually it's right, because I don't know, it's maybe because the years of experience where you gain like a muscle or something like this, like a chain of steps, like, and you like artificial intelligence, you understand what the result will be by the end.
Okay.
But the first events, when you just come to the industry, sometimes you make decisions and not the best ones.
I know.
Ping pong.
Before we finish, I would like to play a little game. It's just a word game where I give you a word and you give me back the first thought that comes to your mind.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Let's start with Qatar.
Qatar. Safety and security.
Russia.
Hometown. Homeland.
World Cup.
World Cup. Smiles.
Terrorism.
Aggression.
Hooligans. You know
Yeah. Bad behavior.
Okay. Future.
In our hands.
And I will finish with Mexico first.
Mexico. Enthusiasm.
Nice, very nice. My final question should be just asking you for a quick advice. If you have to sum up your career and to tell someone that is looking for doing something related to safety, security, massive events, to participate in this kind of industry, what is your advice to these people?
To work on your profile, your personal brand. It's very important. I just realized it maybe 1 year ago, and we start going to the conferences and doing articles and working on our personal brand. Think about your reputation. Don't work with people who can destroy it in 1 minute. Third thing, networking. Build the right network, the community of people who is involved in this industry. One day they will help you, next day you help them, and this is how it works, especially in global events industry.
Nice.
I think, this is the main 3
Well,
points.
Konstantin, it was very glad to have you here. A very interesting conversation. It's not so easy to have a person with your profile to talk about these things. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
And to everyone that is following us, keep this track. We are going to finish up with some of the best interviews here in Mexico City in Expo Seguridad. Hope to hear you again and keep following us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tres razones para pertenecer al Hub de Seguridad. 1. Obtener información de primera mano de expertos nacionales e internacionales. 2. Capacitarte en nuestra plataforma y campus virtual con cursos certificados. Y 3. Ser parte de la comunidad digital de prevención y seguridad más influyente en Latinoamérica. Síguenos en nuestras redes como @el Hub de Seguridad MX.